Say hi.
Hi.
Who is that?
John.
Yeah, it's AX-John. Let's see who else we can find. Who's that right there?
John.
Yeah. Who's that?
A turtle.
What's that?
A turtle.
A turtle? That's a turtle? Name it.
A turtle.
Turtle?
Huh?
Then who's he?
A guy.
And what is it? What's in his eyes?
Spiders.
Spiders?
I know this. Puppet.
All right, I wanted to make a short video and talk about the artist Das Pastoras. Das Pastoras is an incredible artist. When we started out on AX-WIELDER, John, we knew we needed something to tie all the hardcovers together. There's going to be 3 planned for the first big story arc. The first volume is what's going to be on sale on Zoop, and then I'm going to work, for the next 6-7 months on the next one before we offer the second one. I reached out to Das's rep, Jose Villarrubia, and he's obviously the famous colorist in comics, but he translates for Das and he acts as his art rep. So I reached out to him to see if he was available because I knew I wanted someone who could paint and add a little, another light shined on John and give him some age and make him feel like he's been around a long time. So when I reached out to Jose, he said that Das might be available soon after finishing a big project, and that window opened up and we jumped on the opportunity. And instead of just getting the first one while he was available, I got all 3. And there's actually another story I'd like to tell with John, years down the road, and I might go ahead and get him to do those as well. So yeah, here's the first one, the very first AX-WIELDER John cover. What I love about it is if you zoom in, you can see these old scars on his face, which are, incredible. I love this skull. You can see where he killed this thing, where the skull's broken. The fur is obviously amazing. Like, it's unbelievable. I have the shark jaw neck guard, and he's completely, rendered it beautifully. You can see that blue reflective light in there. I think it's fantastic. He nailed John's scar where the skin is thinner on the forehead. You can almost see the bone behind it. And then with the eyes, I sent a message to Jose to translate for Das before he started painting. My editor pushed me to do it. And it was basically when I came up with the idea for AX-WIELDER John, my daughter was sick in the hospital, and a lot of people were coming up to me and say, you got to give it over to God or trust the doctors. But it was a helpless feeling. So I started doodling in my notebook this big barbarian guy who took no shit from anybody. And he was going to fix everything his way. And then I really liked the dilemma of giving him an axe and making him good at wielding an axe. So therefore, how do you fix things when you're always chopping them up? And it created kind of a good character arc or good kind of story element for John to overcome and maybe give him something to learn from. Whenever I think about like being a man, I always think about my father. He's a construction worker. He's always up, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning with his cup of coffee, his head down, very grumpy, very much not in the moment. He is thinking about the job ahead. And I like that. I really wanted John to have that determination and that 1,000-yard stare where he was just brutally determined. He's not worried about the wife, not worried about the kids yelling. He's grumpy. He's headed out for his mission. And that mission could be, chopping people up. It could be like my dad, like an electrician. It could be a man who's going to, no matter what, get all the groceries in one go. That put the team on my back. I'm taking care of business thing. So I sent that to him, and I think Das nailed it. Like the look in his eyes. He's coming for you, and I really, really like that. So that's the first one, and I was super pumped about it. The detail on it's incredible. You can see the hairs on his chin. It's such a unique take. He looks like a beautiful, bloody, stubbed toe or something, and I'm so proud to have it on cover of the first volume of the hardcover. So I'm super excited about it. And then we go to the next one, and the next one is Lord Fang, and Lord Fang is the main bad guy in AX-WIELDER JON. I knew anytime you're dealing with good guys and bad guys, like let's say Batman or Spider-Man, one thing that you realize is the best good guys always have the best bad guy or group of bad guys. They're really part of the same whole, part of the same package, and you're only as good as your best villain. And so with this, I've always had this design where a spider would be sunk in the recessed holes of an eye socket, and when it moved around, the ass of the spider, the design on the spider, would be the pupils. And so I had that idea, and I designed him and put him, the skeleton, in this giant meat suit, and he's kind of regal and over the top. And DOS did, as much as I love cover 1, I think cover 2 might be even better. There's that saying of, I forget the saying, but it's a vagina with teeth, and it's kind of got that kind of over the top, crazy, monstrous design. And I think I got some pictures of my own stuff in here, and I'll flip through it and show you guys. But yeah, I really wanted a green skeleton. I wanted it to have, I love He-Man, and this is a big barbarian story. I call the genre muscle tech because it's over the top masculinity with technology. So I thought, maybe, you have a mega version of Skeletor kind of, and I kind of just designed a skeleton rotting away inside this meat suit that's keeping it alive. And it's very big. It's like 30 foot tall, but when you zoom in, I love that you can keep zooming in and finding more horrific details. And the fact that the spiders are in the eyes and the legs can operate as almost eyelashes, giant eyelashes coming out, look terrifying to me. So the richness of color here, the reds against the blues, it is, the flesh on the teeth there, it's unbelievable. So yeah, this was an incredible piece. And then for the third volume, we've got this side character who becomes a main character in the third book. And he's got a really interesting story arc, and his name is Horus, and he's the one-eyed monster. And my little girl calls him a turtle. So when she sees him, she calls him a turtle. And I'll put that video at the end and splice these two together for you guys to check out. But it's really cute. But yeah, so Horus is the one-eyed monster. I really like the idea of playing around with a one-eyed person, because I think we have two eyes, everything's balanced, but this guy's one-eyed and focused. And I think he doesn't see the other side of things, and he's kind of a one-track mind type character. And so I kind of took that engine and gave him some self-doubt and some things he needed to overcome. And by this third book, he's going to really start shining as a main character in the book. So this guy's far away. He only shows up a little bit in book 1, but by book 3, he's a main guy. And on this one, it's fantastic. I have this texture on Horus, and he just nailed the texture. The old leather on the wrinkled leather is incredible. These seams are unbelievable. It's just so lived in, and so that's what happens to leather. You get these old stains on it and stuff. Really, the shadowing, he really treats the piece as a whole, and then has a great undershadow under his neck, and where the things get a little more defined. And yeah, it's going to be a cool little set of covers. I'm going to flip through some of my own art here. Just for fun. This was in a separate box, Dropbox. Oh yeah, I have another how I figured out who Das Pastoras was is in here too. So this is going to be a lithograph in the campaign done by Seth Fisher's brother Asa, and it's going to be a really nice piece. So this whole thing is done with one cut. It's just that gray tone, so one solid gray tone. So I had to really be subtle with it, really brush it in the way I want it on the pieces. And I really like the idea of the light coming in over the shoulder. And I didn't go hair by hair with my cuts here, but I really like that on his face, where it looks like some of the cast shadows are on his face in that way. And then just kissing the front of the skull a little bit of light coming over to do that, and catching his hand a little bit to make him pop. So I was pretty proud of that. Catching a little bit of highlight on the mustache too, I thought was really cool. So, yeah, here's another one. This one, isn't one cut. This has many different tones of gray in it. That's another piece I worked out. I really liked. I think the best part was the top of these sharks with a little bit of that light touching them. Kind of came out nice and organic, and really keeping the white on the surface, like the light's hitting it, and then once you get deeper into the water, it gets a little darker. I thought that was pretty strong. And then to separate John and his skulls and this bad guy, I rendered that, but kept everything behind him white. So to create a little volume above the plane there. There's another one of John. Obviously this. I'm going to see if I got my Lord Fang design in here so you guys can see the difference between what... yeah, so here's Lord Fang, and that's like the size of a normal man, and then Lord Fang is here. So the fact that DOS did such an incredible job is just unbelievable to me, you know. Like I thought I did a pretty good job on this design, but DOS Pastoras just killed me. And then here he is when you zoom into his eyes and you see the spiders. And I thought, like, no one can beat this, and DOS just murdered it, you know, just absolutely murdered it. Here's my first DOS Pastoras piece. I probably got this almost 10 years ago now, but he did this Punisher short, and he did these 2 Wolverine shorts in the mid-2000s, and I was just blown away by the organicness and the emotion and the detail that he puts into everything. I thought this was the best Punisher page I'd ever seen in my life, and I researched how to find him and get a piece from him. And so here's Frank Castle after his family's been killed, and he's not cleaned up any of the stuff, so he's just sitting there by himself. He's got his fingers bloody and stuff, and he's clearly going down a dark path. But I think just the juxtaposition of just putting half-eaten toast there, and you could see he's already started decking his house out in weapons and getting ready to kill. But the way he's turning his back here from the mess on the table, man, it's just so good. I thought this was like everything you need to know about the Punisher in one page. It was who he is now, why he is going to be, what he becomes, and yeah, it's all the reasons why the Punisher is the Punisher right there. He doesn't have a family anymore, and he's about to take care of business. So yeah, I was blown away by this piece, and I know that this one unfortunately is digitally penciled, because obviously there's some key things on it. Like, one, it'd be really hard to get this perfect, those back tiles and circles. It is all hand painted, which is beautiful, but the downshot on like these chairs here would be very difficult, and that tile on the floor would be very difficult. The perspective is absolutely perfect, and I know that he will do some stuff and edit stuff digitally. That's why on the hand painted ones, I asked Jose, please don't do any digital penciling on that one. I really want the raw paintings on it. But it was a little more affordable because of it. But obviously you get all of his color work and his color theory in there. So I was real proud of that. So that's that. Yeah, here's a picture of just it floating around. Not really the best picture in the world, but yeah. So that's DOS Pastoras, man. He's the man, and I'm super excited to have him on board to be the hardcover cover artist on the soft. Eventually, you know, down the line, if there's demand, we're going to do a soft cover, and I've got Frank Quietly lined up for that. And potentially, I'm talking to Jeff Darrow, trying to warm him up right now to do the second volume soft cover. And I don't know where those will be yet, if it will be at Image or something. I'm not quite sure. If at all, I think I'm just going to work on the hardcovers. And then I do want this series to be a big enough success to eventually do a soft cover release, but there's no plans for that. So yeah, here's volume 1. AX-WIELDER John, determined, ready to chop everything up and fix the world the way he wants to fix it. So here's Lord Fang. Absolutely terrifying. And here's Horus.
April 26th, 2022. Lord Fang is coming for you. Only on Zoop.
I'm getting too old for this shit.